Good evening and welcome to Look North. Our top story tonight. Moments before murder, a 15-year-old boy has been found guilty of the murder of Alfie Lewis outside a school in Leeds.
We love you. You are always in our hearts and our minds, and until we are together again, keep dancing in the sky, our beautiful boy. We miss and love you always.
We'll have the latest from court and hear from people affected by the incident, which happened in front of children and parents at the end of a school day. Also tonight, a historic win for Labour in the Prime Minister's backyard. David Scaife is elected Mayor of York and North Yorkshire, winning by almost 15,000 votes. We look at the local election picture elsewhere as Labour loses control of Kirklees Council.
We're here at Oakwell where Barnsley face Bolton in the playoff first leg. They want to go all the way to Wembley. Don't you, Toby Tyke?
And for many of us, it's been a cloudy and a damp end to the week. Will it cheer up for the bank holiday weekend? I'll be back at the end of the programme with a look ahead.
Hello and thank you for joining us this Friday evening. A teenager has been found guilty of the murder of 15-year-old Alfie Lewis outside a school in Leeds. Alfie was stabbed in the chest and leg in full view of children and parents in Horsforth in November last year. A 15-year-old boy, who we can't name because of his age, told the trial he didn't mean to kill Alfie. But this afternoon, a jury convicted him of murder. Corinne Wheatley is in Leeds for us this evening. Corinne.
Well, the jury took around 8 hours to convict the teenage boy of the murder of Alfie Lewis. And as the verdict was read out in Leeds Crown Court this afternoon, his family and friends let out sobs and this collective, huge exhale of breath, I think in just sheer relief at hearing the word they needed to hear: guilty. Many of them have been sitting in the public gallery over the course of this trial, sometimes wearing orange, Alfie's favourite colour, today wearing T-shirts with his photograph on reading Forever 15. They've heard detailed and at times very distressing evidence about the attack that took the life of a much-loved son, brother, nephew and friend. 1 in a million, how loved ones described 15-year-old Alfie Lewis. As his family left court following the end of a 2-week trial, they held tight to each other as they thanked those who tried to save Alfie's life and those who'd supported them.
The only justice we want for Alfie was to come home to me and my mum and to us as a family. Most of us all would like to say thank you to Alfie for giving us your love, joy and humour and making us smile every day for the 15 years we had to enjoy you. We love you. You are always in our hearts and our minds, and until we are together again, keep dancing in the sky, our beautiful boy. We miss and love you always. Thank you.
His death horrified the local community. His friends filled the streets on the day of his funeral. Messages, memories were laid in the church where the service was held. This CCTV footage shows Alfie walking through Horsforth on the 7th of November last year, totally unaware of what lay ahead. He was meant to meet friends from his former school, as he often did, but he never got that far. The 2-week-long trial at Leeds Crown Court heard how his killer, just 14 at the time, stabbed him in the chest, puncturing his heart, and in the thigh with a kitchen knife. A knife he says he concealed in the waistband of his trousers all day.
Alfie wasn't looking for any kind of confrontation at all, but the defendant had taken a knife from his home address and had carried it with him at school throughout the school day up until the end of the day, at which point he knew where Alfie was likely to be. He claimed, of course, that he acted in self-defence, but the evidence has shown us continuously throughout the trial that he did in fact plan the attack and that he was in fact the aggressor.
These photos of Alfie's killer holding a knife while on a family holiday were taken a few months before the murder. The prosecution said they showed the 15-year-old had an interest in knives and their capacity to frighten others. Well, almost immediately after Alfie's death, his friends began to use this bench in Horsforth, one where he used to spend his time, as a kind of focal point for their grief. It was quickly covered in flowers, messages, mementos, and as you can see, nearly 6 months on, it's still here, still a very public and visual reminder of just how much his death affected this community. The trial had heard there'd been some relatively minor conflict between the two boys in the months before the stabbing, but nothing could ever explain why someone so young had chosen to launch what was described as a senseless attack. Alfie's family and friends are left to grieve a devastating loss. Well, as we've been hearing, the murder happened in a public place at a very busy time. The trial heard from 17 witnesses in total, 15 of them eyewitnesses to the attack. The youngest was just 12. But the wider impact of the killing is also significant. It shook many families in the local area. We've been hearing from one family who run a boxing gym in Leeds. Their daughter had been at school with Alfie.
Horsforth is a nice area, and it's one of those things where you just think it doesn't happen here, it doesn't happen outside schools, it doesn't happen in front of a head teacher. Every statement, every witness statement says it was so quick, it was so quick, it was so quick. And you can't educate people to defend against knives because it is so quick. So the only thing you can say to people is don't carry a knife, don't carry weapons, because that's the only way you're going to stop people's lives being affected by them.
All of his friends are still so badly affected by it. It's like they've still got that on their mind every single day, because every day they go to school and they'd go and see Alfie after school, but that just doesn't happen anymore.
Life doesn't move on for Alfie's friends, life doesn't move on for his family. They will always have a big Alfie-shaped hole in their lives. For that one moment, for that one argument, it's never worth it. It's never worth putting that knife in your pocket.
Well, during the trial, the boy, who we haven't been able to name because of his age, accepted that he caused Alfie's death, but said he hadn't planned it. He said that he was scared of Alfie and that he never intended to kill or to hurt Alfie. But the jury today rejected that argument of self-defence and convicted him of murder. The judge told him there was only one sentence he would be able to pass, but the minimum term that he would serve is yet to be decided. He'll be sentenced on the 21st of June.
Well, Alison Lowe is the Deputy Mayor for Policing and Crime in West Yorkshire. Her role is to oversee the work of police. She gave me her response to this case.
Well, I'm pleased that West Yorkshire Police have been able to bring this to a conclusion, and I hope that Alfie's family now feel that they've got some resolution in what is a desperately sad and terrible situation for everybody here in West Yorkshire.
Yeah, it feels like knife crime is rarely out of the news these days. Would you say the problem is getting worse?
Knife crime has increased in the last 12 months by about 3%, but we're still below 2019 figures. But it does feel as though young people are continuously reaching for knives rather than talking about the problems that they're facing.
Yeah, what more needs to be done to put a stop to this?
Well, we talk about this every time we lose another young person to knife crime, and it doesn't seem to be making any difference. Young people are alienated from adults. They're not talking to us. They're feeling afraid to go outside and live the lives they're supposed to lead. We are failing young people, all of us, as adults, as parents, as educators, and police, including all of us. We need to do more, and we need to get around the table. We're talking to each other. There's a lot of work that is happening, but it's not working because yet another young person is lost. But the work that we're doing currently, I hope, is preventing more harm from happening. We don't know what would be the case without OpGemLock, which is the police's response, without the Violence Reduction Partnership, which is the Mayor's response to violence. And if she's elected tomorrow, we don't know what the outcome will be. Her pledge on policing and crime is to develop a strategy on serious violence for West Yorkshire to really get to grips with this terrible, terrible issue.
And for any young people watching tonight, you're right, it's a subject we come back to again and again. What's your message to them?
Please find other solutions. Talk to adults, talk to a trusted adult. We don't have a lot of resources for young people anymore in West Yorkshire or anywhere else, but there are places for you to go, for you to talk to adults, your teacher, your parents. Talk to somebody rather than picking up a knife, because if you pick up a knife, the chance that you will be harmed or that you will harm somebody else increases massively. And we want you to live the life you're supposed to live in peace, but we want everyone to live in peace here in West Yorkshire.
Sound advice, Alison. Thank you. We'll have to leave it there. And if you or someone you know has been affected by tonight's report, you can find details of organisations offering information and support with bereavement at bbc.co.uk/action line, or call for free using the number on the screen now to hear a recorded information line at any time. Next tonight to a historic election result as Labour won the first election for Mayor of York and North Yorkshire by almost 15,000 votes. York businessman David Skaith admitted he was surprised by the result as he vowed to do politics differently. The Labour leader, Sir Keir Starmer, joined him in Northallerton this afternoon to celebrate. Our political editor James Vincent is there for us now. James, a busy day.
Yeah, Amanda, the May Fair is ongoing in Northallerton this evening, and lots of people thought the Conservatives may fare very well in this mayoral election, but they didn't. This result is, quite frankly, incredible. We've been used to Labour overturning Conservative majorities. They did it in Wakefield. They overturned a 20,000 majority in Selby last year. Of course, there's no majority to overturn. This is the first ever York and North Yorkshire mayoral election. But in this constituency, the Prime Minister's constituency, he has a Conservative majority of 27,000. And David Skaith, as you say, won that election by 15,000 votes. The Prime Minister, when he goes home tonight after a long day, will sit down and in his house, at his house, he will have a Labour mayor. We spoke to the new Labour mayor today.
I am surprised, I suppose, but we did put the work in, and that's the thing. And I think if you work hard, you go out there, you really connect with people. That's what we did.
People always think of North Yorkshire as a Conservative stronghold. You've just won by 15,000 votes. What does that say about Labour, or more pressingly about the Prime Minister?
I think it shows that people really believe in Labour and our message coming through, and they believe in Keir Starmer. It wasn't that long ago that we had a seismic win in Selby with the by-election, so it has been coming for some time. But we've put the graft in, and we've shown that this is about York and North Yorkshire as well. And I think, you know, clearly we've got a message across that we are really fighting for our region. That said, working with the other mayors in South and West Yorkshire as well, and having that real joined-up approach of the entire of Yorkshire is going to be incredibly powerful.
You weren't a politician before this. You'd not done any politics effectively. Do you think that helped you?
I think potentially so. I think I've always been driven by the fact that this is for York and North Yorkshire, and it is a bit personal as well. You know, I have a business here, young family here, grew up here in Harrogate, where I'm from. I love this region. I've always made it about York and North Yorkshire. And I think we do want to see different people in politics. I certainly do. I've been completely fed up with the last 14 years of where we've been going. People just saying, you know, random things and not sticking to any ideas, just putting sound bites out. And actually, you know, coming into this from a whole different background, I think will be a great positive.
But finally, this is interview number one. What's job number one for you on Tuesday?
It's getting in, getting the foundations right, getting the right people around the table, getting our plans in, and really build for the future.
We would have quite liked to hear from Rishi Sunak today. He only lives down the road. He was in Teesside celebrating a Conservative win in the mayoral election there, but he didn't take any questions about the loss here in his own patch. We did, though, speak to the losing candidate, Keane Duncan.
I mean, I had a bold vision for this area, ambitious plans. I was hoping to be able to deliver on those. Unfortunately today, not my day, but I am proud of the campaign that I've been able to run.
Will you stand again? Is this it? Will you be standing in the general election, maybe?
I mean, I don't know what's going to happen next. Need to reflect and see what happens. I hope this is not my last ever election. I thoroughly enjoyed getting out there, speaking to people, meeting people in all corners of this county from all walks of life. So hopefully this isn't the end.
So we knew it was going to be tight because we got to the Harrogate Convention Centre for the count, and the Conservatives looked a bit glum. Labour looked a little bit happy, although they weren't saying anything directly to us. They said it was too close to call. We kind of thought that if Labour did take it, it would be pretty close, or if the Conservatives held on to it like people expected to, it would also be pretty close. But that margin of 15,000 votes for Labour is really unexpected. And then we found out after Labour had won, we had to dash from Harrogate up the A1 to Northallerton here because Keir Starmer did a hasty press conference, a speech to supporters at the football club in Northallerton, saying well done to his candidate, but also telling people that they think that they can replicate these sorts of results at the general election. And that's exactly what I asked him when I got my turn to ask Keir Starmer some questions.
I think at the beginning of this campaign, many people, perhaps yourself included, would have said, can you win in York and North Yorkshire? Because Labour traditionally doesn't win in these areas. We've just proved that we can, but we're humble about this. I say thank you to those that put their trust and faith in us in the vote they cast here in York and North Yorkshire yesterday and across the rest of the country. We will not let them down, but I know we've got to earn the votes going into that general election as well.
Winning here but not doing so well in places like Kirklees where some people aren't happy with your stance on Gaza.
Well look, if you take the overall picture, we've had a 26% swing in Blackpool. That is incredible. That's 5 by-elections now in a row with over 20% swings to the Labour Party. That is history in the making. We've won in Hartlepool in the north. We've won in Redditch, which is a bellwether seat. We've won in Rushmore in the south, a traditional Tory area. So the overall picture is extremely positive for the Labour Party. Yes, we haven't held all the votes we'd liked in every single place, and obviously, I want to win those votes back. But I knew we had to show we were making progress towards that general election. I'm vindicated that the Change Labour Party has won the trust and respect of very, very many voters yesterday in those ballots.
So that win is a surprise to a lot of people, but there are some strong pockets of Labour voting in North Yorkshire. If you think about York, there's Labour MP there, then Scarborough has voted strongly for Labour in the past, and Selby as well has just gone Labour in the last by-election, overturning that 20,000 Conservative majority. So how do people there feel like now that they've got a Labour mayor?
I think the mayor's a good idea. Hopefully brings more power back to the area, take it a bit away from Westminster. I personally didn't vote for him, but say good luck to him. Hope he manages to achieve what he's promises. He's made lots of big promises, big pledges, so we'll see how many of them plan out.
Well, I've just heard from yourself that we have a new mayor. I didn't know anything about that previously, so it's interesting, but I don't really vote, so I tend not to follow the politics anywhere, whether it's in our region or in the country.
I fully support Labour, and well, not everybody, but the vast majority is they're a little bit more for working class people, and I think that's what we need in Selby.
I think we're fed up now of the Conservatives, the way they've handled themselves, and I don't know whether Labour will be any better, but I think the people want to change now. Yeah, they want to change.
So Rishi Sunak might very well be right home, right now, watching this on Look North, and he won't be very happy. He's now got to think about another big question. When will the general election be?
Yes, thank you, James. You never know the minute, do you? Well, let's take a look now at some of the other significant results in the local elections. Labour won the East Midlands mayoral contest. Claire Ward was the winner there. Labour also did well in the council elections. They kept control in Barnsley, Bradford, Calderdale, Leeds, Rotherham and Wakefield. There's no change in Sheffield, where the council remains with no overall control by a single party. But in Kirklees, Labour lost control. Our reporter Gemma Dillon was there for us tonight.
Labour had pushed ahead and secured a majority on Kirklees Council last year, but it's been a stormy 12 months at the authority. They've had to make savings of almost £48 million. And just after Christmas, a number of Labour councillors resigned the party whip over the National Party's stance in Gaza and complaints over local leadership. Today's results saw Labour lose 4 councillors and 5 new independents elected. It pushes the council into no overall control.
I think we've got issues across Kirklees around certain issues that matter a lot to communities. Gaza and Palestine is clearly one of those issues, and I think we've seen a huge amount of concern locally around the issues, and I think that's something the Labour Party has got to acknowledge, and I think we've got to start to work with communities to rebuild trust where that's been lost.
There's been 2 major issues in my ward: locality, major cutbacks, massive mismanagement of budget. It's affecting people's lives and it's affecting children. The second issue, major issue, is Palestine. People are crying out for awareness, people are crying out for support. They want to see leaders locally and nationally advocate, and that's what we should be doing. And today people have elected local leaders to advocate for local people and for Palestine.
Labour could continue as a minority administration here in Kirklees, but it will prove challenging as they still face some really difficult financial decisions. Elsewhere in Bradford, we've seen a similar picture emerge as a number of pro-Palestine independents have taken seats from Labour councillors. Gemma Dillon, BBC Look North, Huddersfield.
And you can, of course, find out all the results in your area using the postcode search tool on the BBC News website. Now let's take a look at the rest of the day's news. And a 17-year-old boy has appeared in court charged with 3 counts of attempted to cause grievous bodily harm after an incident at a school in Sheffield. The teenager, who can't be named because of his age, was arrested on Wednesday. 2 women in their 20s and a child suffered minor injuries at Burley Academy. The school went into lockdown during the incident. The teenager has also been charged with possession of a blade on a school premises. Now to football, and Barnsley face Bolton in the first leg of the playoffs to try and win promotion back to the Championship. Sally is at Oakwell even for us tonight. Sally, it's all yours.
I am at Oakwell, Amanda, yes. Now Barnsley limped into the playoffs in 6th place in the table, and tonight they face Bolton, who are in 3rd, having just missed out on an automatic promotion spot. So it's fair to say that Barnsley are perhaps the underdog tonight, and that's perhaps why, when I spoke to fans a little earlier, they were going into tonight's game with a little bit of trepidation. Here's what they had to say.
Saturday was supposed to be newer and it was still the same, so I hope that it's going to be different, but we'll see. Hopefully we'll win.
Next year, if we can get into the Championship, it's all a matter of stopping there. Halfway will do for now.
I'm a bit nervous. We haven't won in 6 at home, so yeah, I am a bit on the nervous side. Excitement's just beginning to creep in, but I've been nervous all day.
So I'm joined now by Adi Modis, who is a former Barnsley player and co-commentator on BBC Radio Sheffield tonight. Adi, they are the underdogs, I think, aren't they, after a 6-game winless run, would you say so?
I think that's fair to say that, Sally, yeah. It's been a difficult end to the season. You know, had a couple of wins in the last 11 games, and I think everybody realised, you know, how serious it was on Saturday. It looked like we were going to be in the playoffs 2 months ago, and to still be in that position where we've not actually got that guaranteed, and against Northampton on Saturday we still needed, you know, other results to go in our favour and us still to win. I think that says everything about where we've been, you know, last couple of months. But it's the playoffs tonight, and I'm optimistic. You know, it's couple of games, hopefully 3 games, and you just never know. The form book can go right out the window and there's everything to play for.
Last season, Bolton and Barnsley were in the playoffs and Barnsley won. Do you think that'll give them a little bit of confidence, that memory?
Yeah, possibly. You know, I was here for both them games last year. They did really well, you know, getting over the line. Unfortunately, everybody knows what happens in the final against Sheffield Wednesday. But, you know, I just think that tonight it's going to be, you know, playoffs, like I say, just go for it. And as much as we played Bolton last year, you know, I think that it's going to be a very tight game.
Thank you very much, Adi. Well, I know you've got to get back to your commentary duty, so I'll let you go. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So let's turn our attention for a moment to tomorrow, because it's crunch day for 3 of our teams in the Championship on the last day of the season. Now, Leeds United have made it very difficult for themselves in their bid for automatic promotion. Now, if they want to win, they've got to win against Southampton, and Ipswich must lose for Leeds to leapfrog them into 2nd place. Manager Daniel Farke, though, was feeling fairly upbeat.
I'm far away from being in the depression mode. It feels more like, no, it's great that we are still after 45 game days and have the chance to finish in top 2. I want to go for it. I want to try everything and try everything also to surprise everyone also on the last game day. If this doesn't work, yes, then we go for the 2nd bullet, and I'm excited then about the playoffs.
Now, speaking of Ipswich, their rivals tomorrow are none other than Huddersfield Town in the last grips of the Championship survival battle for them. Now, for Huddersfield to avoid relegation, if we crunch those numbers, they'd have to not only beat Ipswich, which would do Leeds a favour, but Plymouth would have to lose, and they'd need a highly improbable 15-goal swing. Sheffield Wednesday, though, have a much better chance of staying up. A point against Sunderland will do the job for them. At Rotherham, if we turn to them, of course, they were already relegated a few weeks ago. They knew that was happening. So tomorrow, the goalie Victor Johansson is putting 600 pints behind the bar at the pub close to the New York Stadium. So if any fans feel like drowning their sorrows, I guess that's where you'd want to be. And back to you, Amanda, in the studio.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you very much, Sally. Now, the lovely long bank holiday weekend is ahead. Keely, what could possibly go wrong?
Yes, I think everything. As far as the weather's concerned, lots of uncertainty in that. I'll be onto that in a moment. Most of us have had a dismal day, a really dreary, cloudy day with some rain, but it did start off on a nice note in Scarborough, some early sunshine there. And the second picture was a more typical scene. You can just about make the sky. We've got more land than sky, haven't we? But it was fairly grey across most of Yorkshire today, and we have had some rain around as well. Oh good, this has happened again. Happy Friday. And there we go, someone's looking down on me. Here we go. So tomorrow it does look like there's going to be a lot of cloud in the forecast, a little bit of dampness in places. I'm hoping that we might see some brighter skies into tomorrow evening, and there'll be more in the way of brightness for Sunday and Monday. But low pressure is close to the UK, so there will always be the chance of showers, more especially I think for the Pennines on Sunday. But the details on that might change, so maybe don't make this the last forecast that you watch. So you can see on the satellite picture, the best of any brightness has been across that northeastern corner of North Yorkshire. Otherwise, we've had a lot of cloud and we've got outbreaks of rain moving northwards. Some of these could be on the heavy side, more moderate and heavy. They will tend to move away northwards, but leave behind a legacy of cloud and bits and pieces of light rain and drizzle later in the night. Temperatures dropping back to around 10 degrees. Let's take a quick look at those high water times then, just after 2 o'clock in Bridlington. So we'll start the day tomorrow with a lot of cloud. There'll be damp, drizzly conditions, particularly for the hills and parts of North Yorkshire. There'll also be quite a grey conditions along the coast and hills, but we should see things gradually brighten, probably keeping a lot of the cloud, although we may start to see some sunshine just edging in from the south and the east later. Temperatures 14 at 15 degrees. As for tomorrow evening, the best chance of any brightness, particularly across parts of South and East Yorkshire. For Sunday and Monday, this looks a little bit pessimistic, but there is the chance of some showers, also some sunny spells.
I'm going to say I got used to that sunshine. Thank you very much, Keely. That's it from us. Do have a lovely weekend. We'll be back with your late news and weather just after 10 o'clock. Hope you can join us then. Goodbye.